first things first, I'm a realist. Second things second, big up the mothers.
The mums, the mothers, the mothering people. Even if you're not officially or technically a mother and you mother people or look after people or whatever you do.
Big up
Yeah.
you. It is Mothering Sunday, so we are at a boot sale. We had a lay-in and then we trundled along to
Trundle, I like that.
Yeovil car boot sale. We went in early, cost us £7 each, which is a complete and utter rip-off.
And if
However,
the organiser of the boot sale are watching, I'd like you to know personally, from me, you're a rip-off.
I think it should be £7 early entry per car
My-
because what we're buying is for one.
Well, yeah, and my issue is not even that. My issue is I get like it's per person because if you're going in kind of
With your mate
your mate,
John.
that's fine. But what my issue really more than anything else is the fact that if you go in it as a car to sell, it's £7. So it would be cheaper for me to drive in with the whole family.
Yeah.
Actually, bring 3 or 4 resellers with me as well. Park up and pay £7.
That's what people do.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of cars you'll see which aren't actually
Anyway, if you wanted
sellers.
to do early entry to Yeovil car boot sale, it is £7 a person from 11 a.m. and then general entry is 1 p.m, which is quite a large amount of time.
These are dirty, however, they are clean, if you know what I mean. They're dirty and they need to scrub up, but the soles are good.
Would you
the
say
suede's
they're
good.
stained?
No, they're not stained at all.
How would you know?
I'm just that good, Bethany. That's
Because you're
how.
a stain expert.
They call me the stain expert. No one calls me that. I don't wish to be called that, and please don't reference that going forward. These are light grey suede gazelles from Adidas.
Adidasler.
Bethany, oh God, Bethany has been saying Adidas all day long. For anyone who doesn't know, the chap who founded Adidas, or Adidas as the case may be,
Adidasler.
was named Adolf Dassler. So his nickname was Addy. So his company was then called Adidas after the name Addy Dassler. So history notes aside, his brother also founded Puma, would you believe it? Anyway, Bethany thinks that's hilarious and keeps calling anything now Adidas as Adidasler. So
Adidasler. From now on, it's officially known as Adidasler. I'm literally going to be like, oh, did you see that Kanye collaboration with Adidasler?
tag us in your photos of anything Adidasler based.
Adidasler.
So this wasn't vintage. Well, I say it wasn't. It was totally. It was definitely mid-2000s, probably a little bit earlier. But I wanted a single stitch. Anything beer related or alcohol related, which is single stitch, goes for a lot more. Because a lot of the time, unless they're stamped, like date stamped, your 97 or whatever, it's quite hard to differentiate what you're looking at.
Okay.
Talk to me about this, which I missed.
This lady had a interesting handbag, which we will point out shortly. Is this a dupe or a copy of the
Marc Jacobs. No, Marc Jacobs.
See, that was just silly. See,
Yeah, it
Marc
was.
Jacobs
Marc
tote
Jacobs is
bag.
American.
Obviously, that one didn't have any like actual branding on, so technically
It was like a dupe, like you say.
Dupe. Anyway, I'm not buying it.
They just to let you know, they do them.
Pardon me.
They do them in leather. They do them in canvas. They do them in multiple colors, different sizes. I think the large in canvas is like 230, 240.
Yeah.
And I think the leather is about 300, 250.
The lady on this still had another item which I was trying to get us in. Does anyone ever go to a boot sale with their significant other and try and code them out and say, look at that on the floor,
Right,
and they just don't understand a word you're saying?
I'm going to say this only once. You don't have to code anything out. They're there to sell the items. Just nudge me or point at it
I know,
or
but
eye
you
me at it.
literally have no idea what you're talking
But it's
about.
like you're like trying to train as a member of the CI bloody A.
Yeah,
no
Morse
one
code.
cares. Just say, look at that thing on the floor, you moron. And I'm okay with that.
Beep, 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 beep. Morse code. Anyway, so this is a Z-Willing. We used to have an outlet, a designer outlet near our home, and it's still there, but it's not as good. And they used to have a knife room, and it was the knives in this room was just this brand, Z-Willing. They're a high-end kitchenware manufacturer.
This is a personal blender, and it is a stand mixer, I believe.
And it is factory sealed. When it comes to electronics, I will not buy anything unless it is factory sealed.
That's a lie, but it helps if it's factory sealed.
No, I don't want to test
The
things.
lady wanted £10. We went back and forth for about 6 years. No, it was like literally seconds, but we got it for 8. They range for anything between 80 and 120 retail.
So factory sealed, I would hope for 50 to 60.
Like you said, that's dependent on model and so on. So yeah, like there's quite a vast difference in ranges. But yeah, that's cool.
If you find any like utensils
I'm
from
for
that
£8,
brand,
you know.
so if you find any knives, not that you can sell knives on eBay, but if you found any they sell scissors and things like that, then you're in for a good one from that brand. Zed Willing.
Sorry, just go back.
So Willing.
You're in for a good one. Is that what you just said?
In for a good one.
Right. Okay.
What?
All right. Let's move on from a good one.
Anyway, so
would the opposite be a bad one?
A bad one, yeah. There were 3 rows of cars, maybe 4, a push.
Look at that.
Push.
OG Superman. That's killer.
Not OG, is
Are
it?
you joking?
Oh,
yes, it was OG.
No.
What do you know about movie posters, lady? Move
What
on.
do you know about Superman, man?
I'll tell you what I know about Superman. A lot more than bloody you do.
Austin.
Yeah, I said it.
I was hoping for some homeware, if I'm honest. I was really on the lookout to treat myself to something ugly.
A lot of toys, weren't there?
A lot of toys, a lot of kids stuff, a lot of just like this kind of thing, like
I'm not saying like bad toys.
coffee jars.
I'm not saying like they weren't any cool toys, but majority of the toys were like what I call newer and just kind of like clearing out the kids' room kind of vibes.
We left in as much footage as we can so you can enjoy the boot sale, because I know a lot of people just like enjoying the boot sale, like seeing what we see. Do you know what I mean? That's what I like anyway. I'm a bit weird. I like seeing what people see.
No, to be honest, when I obviously I have the GoPro strapped to me at this point, but when I walk past and I'm trying to show a little bit of what people have. The problem is, like I just said, because we get in at the same time they do, because it's the early kind of like the early entrance. Most people are either set up like this, like done and dusted, or Jan's just having a sarnie before she starts.
Yeah.
Do people say sarnie? Is that a thing anymore?
Sarnie? Yeah,
sarnie?
I guess so.
Sarnie.
For anyone wondering, I'm wearing my new Runholtz dress. Just no one was wondering.
No one asked. No one was wondering. I think we should move on fast.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so the oval car boot sale. How in general? Let's make convo.
Okay.
In general, how do you feel about the oval car boot sale?
If I like the oval car boot sale, I really do like it in the height of summer. Right, this particular car boot sale, as in this one today. If it were to sum it up with a noise, it would be.
I think though that's like the Mother's Day flex, isn't it? Are they Saucony's?
Yeah, they're vintage Saucony. They're vintage Sauconys. They were tiny. Like the thing is, these are really cool. And believe it or not, in the States, they go like not just Sauconys, but anything vintage like that, even like off-brand shoes, go for great money. In this country, people bend test them, they snap them in half, or they just moan that they're gonna kind of get brittle and kind of just basically eventually what do you call it? Crumble down. Although the American collectors are a lot more hardcore in this country, unless you can wear them, which I get, people aren't interested. So like, why bother?
The small person got a crochet frog. She enjoys adopting animals that traditionally people wouldn't want.
100%.
That is her flavour.
And that's okay.
And to be honest, if it's anything kawaii, she just likes things that look like cute. Like they're going to start talking to her in a high-pitched, squeaky voice.
Yeah, or she does a voice which makes it seem that way anyway. Like it could be a 30-stone gorilla, and she would make it sound remotely cute.
Which is dangerously cute, isn't it? Yeah.
It is
anyway, moving on.
I'm forced to deal with the frog. Was it a frog?
It was a frog.
Okay.
We
Beautiful.
didn't name it. She named it Dude, and then she changed its name because she didn't think that was inclusive enough.
Oh, God. Right, let's talk about some of this stuff we're looking at or not.
What are you looking at? Oh, you tell us what you're looking at.
There's a bit of everything there. There's some action figures. There are some gold-coloured watches. I'm looking at something else. What am I looking at? Oh, Austin, just show us. What are you looking at?
Watches, probably.
It will be watches.
Yeah, Austin loves a watch. We were talking to another reseller about watches very briefly this week, and watches is one of those things at boot sales that I think people really like neglect. Not from we did actually a boot sale video on watches before, but there's such value in like lower end watches, and I'm not talking about your Rolexes and your things like that, but there's really good money in Omegas and
Omegas, like
Casios.
Yeah, I was going to say
G-Shocks,
Seconda, Longines. Like there's loads of like brands which you would kind of like years ago you would have seen in like what I call like more generic jewelers, which now go for like maybe I don't know £500 to £1,000. You'd be surprised. I'm not saying every single model goes for that, but what I'm saying is they're brands which, once again, unless you're like into watches per se, like I'm not talking about a Rolex, I'm not talking about a Cartier, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about brands which you may already know, but you don't realize they're worth something.
I did make a deal with Austin though, because he loves watches. If anyone doesn't know, Austin collects watches, and I did make a deal with him last boot sale season when we were filming, that any watches that he picks up, he needs to put them in like a bowl or something, and then he
I know what you're gonna say.
He replaces the batteries, and then he does them, because I
enjoy doing that.
He enjoys it, and I really severely don't. So he started collecting Swatch watches,
Casios,
Swatch watches. There's a
G-Shocks.
really untapped market.
Yeah, that's a really good
G-Shocks. We have about, I don't know, 10 to 15 G-Shocks currently.
Mostly
and
vintage.
Do you know where they are? They're still in that bowl.
Yeah, but they're there. They're okay. It's like a little savings pot. No, all joking aside, any Swatch watches, new or old, in actual fact, Swatch watches across the board have just had a big, massive resurgence recently because they did a collab with Omega. Speaking of Omega, or Omega, depending on how you say it. Obviously the luxury watch brand, and to be really honest, I think they retail about 280 to 280, around about 240, I want to say 280, and over and above that, they resold at like 300-400 because they were only in store. You couldn't buy them online. People are selling certain models
Wasn't
now.
that the Planet ones?
They're basically
Moon and Sun.
Yeah, they do.
Name
Mercury.
anymore.
There's loads.
Is there Pluto?
They're all different colorways. Go and Google them. They're quite fun. In actual fact, I might put a picture here just to show you what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is that's why Swatches, as much as they've always been collectible, they've had a big resurgence recently, and anything online Swatch wise has gone through the roof.
And there are a couple that are like worth thousands. Like I think there's a Damien Hirst collection.
Yep.
That goes for quite a lot. Disney have done many collections, and some are rarer than others.
Yeah, like you say, some of the vintage ones go for a lot. By the same token, even some of the more recent ones, you can pick up and still, I don't know, pick something up for. People don't see value once they bought a Swatch watch because it might have cost them 50 or 60 quid. They don't see value in 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah, 100%.
Or a year later. So when they sell them for a couple £1 at a boot sale, you don't realise that might have gone up. And even if it hasn't and it just stayed the same, £60 watch.
Yeah,
for a couple £1, I'm saying,
there's a wrap one as well that goes all the way, wraps all the way wrap. There's loads.
We have one of those, yeah.
The one thing I would like, and I've never found at boot sale, and I know some people have, is the giant ones.
Yes. Oh, yeah, they're like the display ones. Yeah. They're like clocks.
I love, for anyone who doesn't know, I love display items.
Store displays.
I've got a real thing about store displays. I don't know why. It's like that thing you can't have.
Yes.
It's that desirability factor.
It is,
And I'm not even that big into swatches, but I know you're really into watches. I think you'd like some, store displays
for
from
sure.
Rolex.
I would love them. In actual fact, I try anytime I hear a jeweler's kind of closing or something, which is really bad. I know. I always I'm always on it. Do you have anything you want to sell? But no, they don't. These were a pair of clogs. The brand is I can't even remember.
Calzazzo.
No, something like that.
Calzazzo.
They're Italian anyway.
They're Calzaro.
That's
they're
it.
I would call them, okay, don't at me. I would call them nurses.
They are. They're medical, yeah, they are.
And do you know the massive market in the States for nurses' shoes?
So in actual fact, the funny thing is, in a minute I'll flash up how much they cost retail. They're Italian. They cost around about 50, 60 euros, okay, new. The mad thing is the comps on eBay sold, not just sold, but also the listed stuff, 99% of that is actually in the US, funny enough.
I told you.
It's like,
nurses'
but they're 52 euros.
And they're normally a little bit because these ones, I've walked around the house in them a little bit. They're like spiked, so they're like orthopedic.
See, look, America.
Is orthopedic the right word?
No, they're I don't know, it might be, but they're nursing clogs.
They're good on your feet, okay?
Either way, they were £3. And once again, it's something, it looks very crocky, very rubbery, but when you pick them up, you can feel the quality. There's quite a weight to them.
There's a little bit of wear to the toes on these, so I would list for like 30, 35. But once again, when you're at a boot sale that is,
drier than the Sahara Desert,
you need to make allowances.
Improvise, peeps, improvise.
Austin's even going to look in people's physical boots. Look at all these cars that have gone off to wander around and
this is how bad it got. Wait for this. This is Austin looking at old, vintage now actually, yeah, PC CD-ROM games.
I've left at this point.
The funny thing is, right, for anyone who's old enough, please put a comment if you remember In Carter, the encyclopedias. That was I can't even. That was like the internet before the internet. Like if you needed to know anything when you were in school, like if it wasn't in Carter, it didn't happen in the universe.
Showing your age there, Ross.
Showing my age. Everyone knows I'm old. What's the difference?
Big box games from PC normally they used to do well. Well, I don't even know if they
big
do
box
well.
PC games. Some still do really well. I say that like I'm an expert, but I hear a lot of people sell the big box PC games.
Oh, what's that?
Topshop. It's actually a knockoff. it's actually a knockoff of a Ferragamo purse. That's why I picked it up.
Salvatore Ferragamo.
Anyway, in a couple of moments, we are going to see a person which we've met. A person which we've spoken to quite a few times at this boot. And actually, I think he was the first person who ever kind of said, "Oh, it's the luxury pickers."
Hello, you right? Dick, are you alright, Chief? Okay?
Who went there?
Yeah, show me. Yeah, they're nice.
Can I put in my video?
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice. You were too.
Yeah, of course you can. Yours were 10
Put them in there.
How much?
10.
Oh, yeah, I'll
give you
give
10.
Yeah.
Good man. Thank you. Yeah.
I saw them off there. I'll take it 5.
Huh?
They were 5, I said.
I think they are. That's fair.
Is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
No, don't be so silly. Well, we're going to make money. You're going to make some money.
Yeah,
I'll probably keep
you're
them for a little
better
bit.
than I will, so.
No, don't be so silly. They're sick.
Yeah, they're like 19.
Most of us, I think you'll probably end up keeping them for a bit.
Yeah, I'll keep them for a bit because I like to collect this time era.
I'm sure
They're like
that-
1996 to 98.
Yeah, there's Eva, which is cool. They're lovely.
They're not very fashionable, I have to say that. Like,
they're not, no.
they'll take a certain person to wear that kind
Well, no,
of
they are. That's the problem. Like, you've got to be like a fashion. You know what I mean? One of those ones. But they're cool.
Oh, that's cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you go.
There you are.
You're on the payroll.
No, don't be so silly.
Cheers.
Thanks, dude.
So, what the main man there found when he was looking around was a pair of Gucci sunglasses. And he asked us to authenticate them, and then he kindly offered for us to have them. And I guess that's what they call in the business the quickest flip in history.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were a pair of
Tom Ford vintage Gucci sunglasses.
Gucci sunglasses designed by Tom Ford between the late 90s to early 2000s.
Yes, sir.
They weren't the most, what I would call the most attractive sunglasses. However, there is a market for ugly sunglasses, and a lot of people wear them. And I actually, when I got home, I tried them on, and do you know what? They are so freaking cool.
As I said in the clip, like they are fashion. So like a lot of companies at the moment are making the smaller, almost like rimless lens glasses, like the Cartiers and stuff, and kind of their own version of those. And I think these at the moment, as much as the arms, like the arms of the glasses aren't exactly like the most amazing with the kind of the over the top print. I actually think the big G's and the kind of rimless look at least is the one.
G.
Yeah.
It's like a square G to look out for.
And it's very Tom Ford.
Anyway, I'm going to put them up for a stupid price, and I'm going to wear them for a bit. That's
Why
what
not?
I'm going to do. And then when I'm ready to actually sell them, then I'll lower the price.
As you probably heard, he bought them for a $5. He said, "Do you want them for 10?" I think he was happy to double his money. We give him 20 quid. I said he's gonna make some. He made some money quick, and we'll make some more. So happy days.
We'll make some slow money.
Look at this.
What is that?
Like-
Who is it? Name it.
I-
Name the person. Name who that is.
No idea in the world.
When it comes to boot sales, the one main problem I have
It's me.
is Austin. He just loves touching things. You know when you take a child to a boot sale
Yeah.
and you have to do everything in your power to keep their hands from just freely taking the toys because they feel like it's a free-for-all because it's not a usual shopping experience. Austin has to touch everything. He has to check the CDs. He has to look in the box.
I was just gonna try and defend myself, but I'm just looking at this clip. But because just slightly before this football player I just picked up, I got told off by a lady for looking in her bag when she sat down by the side of the stall. And she, "Excuse me, that's mine. Apologies."
He looks in people's bags. He looked.
Not on purpose.
This one time, he picked up this pair of women's shoes
Oh, this
that
is
were
funny.
right next to her bare feet, and he asked how much.
No, hang on, no, let's break that down properly, right? She was sat out in front of her.
In a chair?
Hang on, no. She was sat on the grass in front of her car with all the stuff around her, right? And I said, "Oh, excuse me, picked one up. How much are these?" She looked at me, gone off, and said, "They're actually my shoes. I've just taken them off." Oh God, this is my life.
They were shocks. They were nice shocks, but that was.
They would have made some serious
The
coin.
poor woman had no shoes on her feet, and Austin still felt the need to pick her shoes up. You know these stories? I bought the t-shirt right off their back. Austin attempted to buy the shoes off someone's
I didn't
feet.
though. No, I didn't. I didn't try and attempt to buy the shoes. I just picked them up. Should have walked off with him. Jeez Louise, go on. Talk to me
think
about
she
this
would notice.
terrible atrocity
What do you
of
want
a
me to
rail.
talk to you about?
Honestly, look at this.
It's some
Look at this.
That's nice.
No, it was stained. Look, he's got yellow stains everywhere. This is my point.
King of the stains.
Do you think across the board? I think that's quite an interesting topic.
Okay.
Do you think the quality of clothing at boot sales has gone down substantially since like the evolution
No.
of a kind of eBay and online sales?
No, early season.
Okay.
Early season is just for us. I find in our part of the world that this is pre-season. We're in the warm-up matches. We're not in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I'm with
yet.
you on that.
This is just we're kicking the ball round. This is the ladies' bag that Austin tried to
No,
go
this
through.
wasn't. No, it wasn't. That was a blue IKEA bag.
We're just warming up. This is warming up.
Warming up.
Yeah, and in warm-up season,
I
you
can
get
only apologise
people
for
that
the
just
shock
trying to
you're getting right now.
People are just trying to get rid of stuff. They're warming up too. Think of that.
Yeah,
They're
I
warming
suppose.
up together.
Well, sounds disgusting.
People haven't started taking their shoes off yet for you to purchase.
Honestly, you make me sound like some kind of weirdo monster on this.
When it comes to boot sales,
Weirdo monster?
you enter the strange person category.
Okay. Oh God!
If you think touching strangers just stains is weird, wait until you hit Austin at a boot sale.
Maybe I'll just send these videos out and edit and see how weird things get.
Honestly, I don't think people would watch. I think they turn off after 5 minutes because it would just get a bit weird. These people all crowded around Hot Wheels now. There is I can't this is the thing. This is what happens at pre-season boot sales. People just anything. They get a sniff of something exciting.
Yeah.
And this man's never bought Hot Wheels in his life.
Nope.
He's got a Sainsbury's bag full of.
I don't know. And if you're watching, I don't know what to
action
tell
men.
you.
But suddenly we have an interest in Hot Wheels. That man is probably going to comment now and tell me he's a lifelong collector of Hot Wheels.
Actually, I had 25 grand's worth of toys in that bag.
I do know.
He talks like that as
For a
well.
little fascinating fact that if you get the red line on the wheel, then that's a good one.
You're giving people false information there, so I would do one thing if I were you. I'd keep it quiet, lady.
Okay. So fine. So I do find that though, when there's a new car pull up, suddenly you become the most interested person in the world in whatever they have.
Yeah, but I also think don't you think there's like an era of desperadoism about that? I mean, being desperate.
Desperado.
But
why
but
don't
like,
you come to your
what are you buying?
senses?
Like, I don't understand. This lady, right? I kept moving, and she just kept moving around me. This lady in front of me.
She didn't want you to have what she had. She's got a tin. She's got a coffee mug. I think the problem here is, Austin, you've been sipping on the Haterade. You've been sipping all night.
I have not.
You have.
Back off. That's what I should have said to her. Back up, lady.
Ma'am, please remove yourself from my vicinity.
Ma'am.
This was just a bag.
Do you know what hurt my soul? When I got there, they were all absolutely terrible. Suits me. That's my fault.
Do you know what? I think people appreciate. I think between you and me, Austin, I think people appreciate when we show them the nitty gritty, the highs and the lows, the terrible and the good.
Well, this has been pretty bloody terrible, hasn't it?
Can you stop swearing?
I'm not swearing.
That is a swear word.
No, it's not.
That is a blasphemy.
What happens if you get cut really severely? What do you end up with?
A red liquid flowing cut.
Though that donut store looked so bad, it looked good.
Hands up who eats at boot sales. Fascinating. I'd like to know who eats at boot sales.
I don't.
We don't eat at boot sales, but I know a lot of people do eat at boot sales.
But I remember one person once saying like they would like if they I can't even.
Wasn't it Cola Flipper who told us? Cola Flipper famously told us, it cuts into your profits. No, I can't eat at boot sales.
Yes,
It was.
that's what it was. That's what I was trying to think of. It was Cola Flipper.
He said he did like tips for boot sales, and he said don't eat at boot sales because you think of the bottom line because
honestly,
they're expensive.
I never thought I'd be that person, but he's totally changed my outlook on boot sales and
Thanks,
eating.
Cola. You totally ruined our eating.
No donuts for us. Bye.